Wherever within your life you feel like this, severely imbalanced, this week we are recalibrating the scales with the Libra full moon. My name is Comet, and welcome to your astrology forecast for the week of April 3rd to April 9th, 2023. Here on Magic Monday, we cover all of the astrological happenings of what you can expect as you navigate your week ahead. And this week, there's a lot happening in the cosmos, from the Libra full moon, the Chiron cazimi, Mercury square Pluto, Mercury enters Taurus, Mercury enters its pre-retrograde shadow, Venus sextile Neptune. There is a lot going on, which we will cover thematically as well as day by day. But what we really strive to focus on here is how it is that you can lean into these themes that the cosmos are so generously giving us this week, and how we can co-create with them in order to make our daily life a little more magical. Flowing in synchrony with the cosmos rather than fighting against it, which you're going to want to be mindful of, because if you caught it, yes, Mercury is entering territory this week that'll eventually traverse backwards through. We've had all planets going full steam ahead, and now, knowing that Mercury enters its pre-retrograde shadow this week, you're gonna want to channel this slow and steady Taurus vibe, right? One step in front of the other. Try not to let the Aries sun let you get ahead of yourself. You're gonna want to, as you navigate this week, proceed a little mindfully. Allocate your energy a little intentionally, and we will dive into why. But before we do, I want to let you know that it is the beginning of the month, and the beginning of the month is an amazing time to check out Magic Monthly to get really dialed in and prepared for the whole of April 2023's astrology. Of course, in Magic Monday, I will always dedicate myself to giving you a week-by-week synopsis of the astrology that we're moving through. But if you are looking for a monthly view of all of the aspects that we're moving through, April's astrology is pretty wild. We have Mercury retrograde, eclipse season. If you want to get dialed into that and even maybe adjust your plans accordingly, make sure to check out Magic Monthly. In the planets tier, I craft you a little calendar with little symbols, designate what each day is good for, what it's not so good for sometimes. And then within the galaxies tier, I craft you an astrology notion template, which allows deeper information on each of the aspects that we're moving through, co-creative opportunities for each. You can customize it for your chart. You can take a look at the overall monthly synopsis. You can keep track of habits. You can set your goals. Make sure to check that out. The online astrology planner is at the galaxies tier. The calendar is at the planets tier. You can check it out by checking out the link in my description or the join button on YouTube. And without further ado, let's go ahead and dive into Vibe Check of the Week. Okay, so if you are new here, Vibe Check of the Week is essentially when we translate all of those terms that I was saying and throwing at you, Venus sextile Neptune and Libra full moon and Chiron cazimi. You might be like, Haley Comet, what does this mean for me? And that's what Vibe Check of the Week is perfect for, because we essentially translate all of those themes into a real life scenario so that you can begin to tune into how these aspects will play out within your universe. But before we do, let me know what you guys are sipping on today. I have a salted maple Americano from a local coffee shop. I had a consultation today. Gotta support local businesses. Look how they spelt my name, which, like, no shade at all. My name's Haley. There's a million ways to spell Haley. Lots of creative variations. So it's always fun. It's like a little game for me when I go to coffee shops and things to be like, I wonder how they're going to spell my name. Because sometimes they throw an E-I-G-H in there. Sometimes there's like a gazillion Y's in there. So this week's astrology feels like the vibe when you so want someone to like you, and they just do not like you. And the more that they do not like you, the more you obsess, like, why am I not good enough? Why don't they like me? Why don't they like me? Why don't they like me? Do you know that feeling? That's what this week's astrology feels like, which we will get into. So feel free to add in the details and nuance around that central theme that make the most sense for your world. But for the sake of the vibe check, I'm gonna paint a picture for you. So let's say within your kind of larger extended social group, there is somebody that you see. You see them at social gatherings, you see them at your best friend's birthday, You see them when your best friend plans trips away. You're always in the orbit of this person, and you do admire this person. You would like to be their friend, but there is just a block there. They kind of give you dirty looks. Every time you try to broach a common interest that the two of you share, you just feel shut down. You just feel removed. And the more you try to get closer to them, the more they kind of back away. Like literally when you're at social parties with them, they will like leave the room when you enter. And you admire this person. You think they're whatever the qualities are that you admire. You think that they are intelligent. You think that they are very successful. You admire their commitment within their relationship. You admire their style, whatever it is. And you admire them, but you cannot help but feel like there's something that they don't like about you. And the more there's that detached vibe, the more you're looking inward and almost like obsessing, just being like, what don't they like about me? Why don't they like me? What is it about me that is making this person be so cold? And it's like the more that you feel this cold vibe, the more you want to try to be their friend, right? To feel this sense of validation. And it's almost like the more you try to make this person like you, the more you're stepping out of integrity with yourself. Like this individual is always wearing neutrals, so you always are wearing really bright clothes, right? Like maybe they don't like me because in our social pictures, I'm always wearing bright clothes and I throw off their Instagram aesthetic or whatever. So you try to wear neutral clothes. This person is always just a little bit more chill than you are. You're a little bit more high energy. So you try to meet them there. You're trying to essentially get on their energy to try to make them like you. But alas, that validation from them just feels more and more elusive the more that you try. And then you're at social gatherings and it's very hard for you to like be yourself and have fun with your friends because you are just super attuned to this person's energy and trying to be this person's ideal person. The reason this week's astrology feels like this is because this week we have a gigantic spotlight on our relationships and connections with the Libra full moon. And with the Libra full moon opposing the Aries sun, there really is this illumination around which connections we feel like we have to perform for, which ones we feel like we have to be the certain way in order to feel validated, in order to feel accepted. But like that vibe check where it just feels more and more elusive, the more that you try and strive and step out of integrity with yourself to try to be the perfect person for this individual, the more that there is this elusiveness. And the more you look inward to try to be like, what's wrong with me? What's wrong with me? What's wrong with me? Because this Libra full moon opposes Chiron. That person in this vibe check doesn't have any control over you. That person, you're very loosely connected through social groups. They have nothing to do with your value, but it kind of pings something at you, right? It just makes you feel like, what's wrong with me? What's wrong with me? And that's where the obsession comes from. It's not from needing this random person to like you. It's because you're obsessing over what that means about you. There are people in life who does not like you, okay? And this is a big week for my people pleasers, recovered people pleasers. This is a really big week for you guys because there's really going to be a spotlight on that area and where it is that you are essentially leaking your power out through trying to be everything to everybody, trying to be the perfect person. With the opposition to Chiron and Aries and the Chiron Cazimi this week, there is this spotlight around ways that we do not feel good enough, and with the Libra full moon, ways that we feel like we have to perform in order for acceptance, in order for validation. While there's a spotlight on these themes, that is not where the journey ends, right? There can be this illumination around that place within you of where this is coming from, being like, okay, this person, will name the person in the vibe check, we'll name her Stephanie. Stephanie has nothing to do with me, right? She has nothing to do with me. And when you illuminate that and realize, hey, my value isn't about Stephanie's Instagram aesthetic. My value is not tied up whether or not Stephanie laughs at my jokes or thinks that I'm boisterous or too high energy or what have you. That has nothing to do with me. I give Stephanie power by trying and trying and trying to be that perfect person, not because it has anything to do with her, but because of what it made me feel about me, that I am not good enough, that there was something wrong with the way that I am, and that I need to perform and filter and be what it is that other people want. This is a very important week to really stay integral with the person that you are. For some of you, you may feel this as it relates to work projects. Maybe there's somebody on your work team who you so want to validate your idea, right? But that elusive compliment just never comes. And you try and you try and you try until your core idea looks so much different than what you initially intended because you were trying to make it perfect for this person. Maybe you're experiencing this within business. Obviously, we need to take constructive criticism within business. But if you are a creator, it is deeply important to understand you will not please everybody, okay? And if you try to be the perfect creator, for every single person, you will lose your own essence, which is what drives your creativity, which is what drives your business, right? It is important to listen to feedback with the Libra full moon. This is sacred mirrors energy, what it is that we can learn from other people. But we bounce our energy off other people, off other customers, off other people at work to be able to attune to what feels right to us, right? And maybe you're feeling this when you go on dates this week around sitting there at the booth and trying to be the perfect person for this person. Oh, you like preppy girls? Let me wear a polo next date. Oh, you like sporty people? Let's play soccer after, even though I don't like to play soccer. Like essentially ways that we try to essentially mold ourselves to be perfect for other people, because it's spotlighting this wound within us and makes us feel like our value is not enough. So it's tied up into being accepted and validated by other people who are random people, okay? You do not need to be adored by everybody you go on a date with. That just might not be your person, and that's fine. You do not need everybody at work to have glowing reviews about your pitches. Some people might have different taste, and that's fine. You don't need everybody within your extended social circle to be your best friend. Some people you just interact socially with, and that's fine. These things say nothing about you. So there is this huge illumination this week around, yes, feeling inspired by the people around us, observing, hey, which connections do I feel celebrated? That I feel I can be my most raw, unfiltered self. They love when I wear the bright clothes. They love when my voice talks loud, when I get excited about something. They love my obnoxious laugh. You know, they love that raw component of me. Observing those connections, observing the people when you're on a date and you do not need to perform. You're just like, this is just who I am. That feeling of being at work and having your qualities really celebrated by your fellow teammates. There's a gigantic spotlight on the people within our lives. And while there can be certain triggers illuminated around, I need this person to like me because what it says about me, I want you to observe that trigger without getting attached to it, right? Because Chiron can wound, but Chiron can also heal. So there's lots of healing energy this week if we're able to really strive to allow our relationships to reflect to us what is right and true and integral about our journeys, right? Not bending what is right and true and integral about ourselves in order to feel validated by external people, many of which do not matter in the grand scheme of your life. It does not matter whether Stephanie thinks that your clothes belong in her Instagram feed. In the broader scheme of life, it does not matter what that person that you shared pasta with thinks about you. They might not be your people, and that's okay. But the most important person for your journey is you, which is what the Aries sun is trying to illuminate to you. So we're gonna go ahead and dive into our day-by-day breakdown. I do wanna let you know that timestamps are available below. I wanna let you know if I mention a time, it is PST. So ensure that you adjust to your time zone before putting into your planner. So good Monday, welcome to Good Monday. I meant good morning, but Good Monday does work because this is your astrology forecast for Monday, April 3rd. So I want to let you know that Mercury, the planet of communication, of intellect, enters Taurus early in the morning, around 9:22 a.m. PDT. And this is essentially tempering our thoughts and our communication. Like with Mercury in Aries, you can find that you are a little bit more fiery, telling it like it is, right? Being a little bit more forthright about your ideas. And with Mercury in Taurus, we can find that we are a little bit more slow and steady, which, like I said, the closer that we get to Mercury retrograde, you're gonna wanna go slow. The Aries energy is gonna tell you to quicken up, slow and steady. There is no rush, okay? Protect your peace, conserve your energy. That'll be deeply important as we get closer and closer to eclipse season. But with Mercury and Taurus, there is this slow and steady vibe coming into our thoughts. We're slow to form an opinion, but a little stubborn when we arrive to it. We cannot be rushed during this energy, and we shan't be rushed during this energy. This all sounds well and good, right? Mercury in Taurus is very grounded. It's very practical. It's very stable, right? It's grounding down. Maybe we had all these ideas with Mercury in Aries, and now we're feeling inclined to want to ground them down into reality, into practicality. This sounds great, right? It is, except when it comes to, arguing with Mercury in Taurus, these individuals can be very stubborn. And since Mercury's in Taurus now, we can be a little bit more stubborn, a little bit more attached to our ideas, finding a harder time to, hear out other people and their ideas, what have you. But right when Mercury enters, it squares off with Pluto. So this is taking our thoughts into a very intense place. So you might not feel this practical, grounded energy when it comes to your mental space at all on Monday, okay? You may not feel this shift right away because Mercury in Taurus is greeted by immediate square to Pluto, which is plunging us into paranoia, obsession, jealousy, okay? Fear, of the future. And my best advice, truly, when it comes to Mercury and Taurus squaring off with Pluto, deal with what is practical and what is in front of you. Like there could be a vibe of being at work and obsessing, being like, oh my gosh, what if there's layoffs? You just handle what is in front of you one step at a time, like feed the present, okay? With Mercury square Pluto, there will be something at your thought space that feels obsessive, that feels very paranoid. Maybe you're trying to focus at work, but you're Googling about a random health symptom and now you've got it all figured out in your head. You're like, this is absolutely what I have. This is absolutely what I have. Maybe you're panicking about your partner. Maybe you're panicking about the state of the world with Pluto and Aquarius. I don't know if this will bring solace or if this will bring panic, but I just want to let you know that at any given moment in time, there's a lot of things to panic about. That doesn't mean you need to panic about them all. Like you could work yourself up into a tizzy about a million things and they will most likely, a majority of them will not happen. And the ones that will happen, you will cross that bridge when you get there. Like seriously, panicking and spiraling about what it is that you feel like you cannot control in life, it's not going to do you any good. Truly. And when it comes to Mercury square Pluto, it could be that energy where you're at work, you're trying to focus, but you're like, what if there's layoffs? Just like working yourself into a tizzy because you saw that your supervisor put a meeting at 2 p.m. on your calendar and you're like, what does this mean? What does this mean? What does this mean? Focus on the task at hand, ground down. Like I'm telling you, our senses are going to be what anchors us during this time. Ground down into what is in front of you, ground down into the coffee that you are sipping. Maybe you have some essential oils by your desk, smell those, anything that'll just ground you down, ground down your mind. Because with Mercury square Pluto, we're not seeing things clearly. With Mercury Pluto, we're a little bit more prone to obsession. So again, the vibe when you're at that social gathering and be like, well, Stephanie laughing at my jokes? Does Stephanie think my neutrals are good? Like with Mercury square Pluto, we can be a little bit more paranoid. We could be a little bit more obsessive, right? Like really obsessing. You got all this great feedback, but one person said that the end of your presentation left something to be desired. And you're like, what's there to be desired? I'll fix it. I'll fix it. Whatever you need, whatever you desire, I will put it there, right? Like with Mercury square Pluto, our mental space is just a little bit intense. And it just feels like with these fixed signs, we're just getting attached to random things and working ourselves up about it, okay? And this is the vibe. Let me know if you can relate to this or if this is just me. This is like the vibe when you wake up in the middle of the night and you are just panicked and frenzied about so many different things. Things look different in the morning. Things look so different in the morning, but in the middle of the night, there's something that feels so foreboding. Even small problems within your life, you just magnetize them, and things that aren't even problems, your brain is just trying to find something to be upset about, being like, what if there's an earthquake? Will I survive? Or what if there's a fire? Or what if that work project? Like you just don't see the world clearly in the middle of the night. Does anybody else feel that? Oh my gosh. And I'm like, I just need to make it through the morning. I just need to make it through the morning. This problem looks so different in the morning. Or maybe it's not even a problem. Maybe it's just something that built up. Things do look different in the morning. Okay. And you might be in the middle of the night, like, no, you don't understand. What if this happens? And it's like, you just aren't seeing things clearly. And it's not a light switch. Trust me. It is not a light switch, and I'm deeply aware of that. But I just want to let you know on Monday, it's like that middle of the night energy. You're not seeing the problem clearly, right? You're seeing it from this fearful, paranoid sort of vibe. You're not seeing it clearly. Things look different in the morning light. Later this week, we have Mercury sextile Saturn. This is a lot more practical to look at this solution. All you can do at this moment is deal with one step at a time, deal with, in the metaphor, going back to sleep and just trusting things will look different in the morning. You'll wake up, and with Mercury sextile Saturn later this week, you'll look at, okay, what is it that we need to do to solve this problem? If I woke up in the middle of the night convinced that there are spiders in my house, maybe I need to call a spider person, or maybe I need to look around and see if there's spiders. Like whatever it is that you are blowing up within your mind, understand we will be in a more clear-headed state to deal with it later this week. All you can do on Monday, handle one step at a time. I also want to let you know, be conscious as it relates to social media, jealousy, right? Like parts of that competition, that imaginary competition with Stephanie is around you admire this person. So you want this person to validate you, right? Or accept you. You desire what this person has, maybe in some arena of life. And again, we're not seeing it clearly. Like with Mercury square Pluto, there's the moon's in Virgo all day on Monday. So maybe we're like at work scrolling and being like, this person doesn't have to go to work. This person's on a freaking yacht. Like, like obsessing over what it is that we don't have. Like again, we are not not seeing the world clearly. We are not seeing it in the morning light. We're seeing it in the middle of the night where we're exaggerating all of our problems. We're glorifying everybody's, amazing aspects of their life. Like, we are not seeing it clearly. And my best advice on Monday, there's honestly some helping hands when it comes to the Virgo moon, but just handle one thing at a time, one thing at a time. Bring your mind back. If you notice you're getting obsessive or getting jealous or getting paranoid, deal with one step at a time. Things look different within the morning light. So even if it feels like the end of the world, you've convinced yourself it's end of the world, you're reading the news and it feels to be the end of the world, practically deal with what it is that you can control today, because I'm telling you, this might bring solace, this might bring more panic, but at any given moment, there's a gazillion things to panic about, okay? There's a million things you can work yourself up into a tizzy about, but it's not productive to allow yourself to get to that state. Things look different within the morning light. We will have a more solution-oriented energy moving into later this week. Wait for morning time. Wait for that clarity. Honestly, on Monday, mind your business. Mind your business, mind your business. Like with Mercury square Pluto, obsessing about other people's opinions of us, right? Obsessing about other people's lives, obsessing about other people's feedback, obsessing about, other people and trying to control other people can all be vibes with this. Mind your business. This is going to be so important moving into the Mercury retrograde and eclipse season. Mind your business, protect your peace, which is something I just so admire about Taurus energy. I feel like Taurus energy is like in the definition of their own lane. Like they are just doing their own thing. They're not too concerned about what it is that you're doing. Channel your inner Taurus. Just do not, if there's workplace gossip, you don't have to get involved. You don't have to get involved. If Stephanie is like intentionally snubbing you at this event, it must be a her thing. Just handle at you having fun on the event. You don't need to worry about everybody else having fun at the event. Like, just handle what it is that you can control, because there's a lot in life that we cannot control. And with the Virgo moon, it trines Venus, it trines Uranus. So it's a hard-working energy, it's productive. If we can keep our mind focused, which the Virgo moon is answering to that Mercury, which is squaring Pluto. So our mental space can feel a bit intense, scattered, nervous. Soothe the Virgo moon by handling your to-do list and just keep telling yourself, I will cross that bridge when I get there. If my worst case scenario comes true, I will deal with that when I can deal with that. Let me just handle and this task and this task. Things will look different in the morning light. And that evening would be lovely to do something sensual for yourself or ground yourself into your senses. Get out of your mind. Your mind is not the productive place to be right now, because again, with Mercury square Pluto, it could be in this really intense space. Ground down into your senses. Okay, work out, bake or eat something delicious. Get outside, get in nature. Those are all things that feel like it's going to soothe the very nervous energy permeating Monday's astrology. In addition to that, I do want to let you know, Monday is Moon Day, and we do have the Libra full moon occurring Wednesday night, early Thursday morning, depending on where you are located within the world. And so as the full moon gets bigger and bigger, things tend to feel more hectic. Things tend to feel more busy. Use the Monday's productive energy by trying to get on top of things, if possible, okay? If you can control that Mercury square Pluto, it might be actually very helpful for you to just keep your schedule busy on Monday. If you have too much space, your mind might have space to like roam and obsess. Keep yourself directed, strive to stay on top of things, because typically when it comes to full moon weeks, things feel a little bit more intense, and it might be a good idea to get ahead on your tasks because things just tend to feel busier. Especially since we're losing a lot of Tuesday because the moon's void in a lot of like working hours. So if possible, strive to get ahead on your work tasks on Monday, because it feels like it'll be something that's soothing for your brain to just give yourself something to focus on, as well as something that will be helpful as we move into the end of the week. So on Tuesday, the moon opposes Neptune at 6:50 a.m. and then it's void until 2:51 p.m. PDT. And if you are new to my channel, when the moon is void, important tasks we must avoid, okay? And I'm not saying you need to hide from existence, hide under your covers. I will say there will be a strong desire to do so, as the closing aspect is the Virgo moon opposing Neptune. There will be a strong desire to just escape. I don't want to deal with it. I'm under my covers. I don't want to deal. There will be a strong desire to do that. I'm not saying you have to do that, but would I plan the most important pitch of your life during that time? The most getting the most important tasks you have on your to-do list this week? I would not. I would strive for more routine, mundane factors of life, things like editing, things like refining, things like handling the little details of things, especially with the Virgo moon. Because with the opposition to Neptune, like I said, there could be a strong desire to just want to escape life. Like maybe the Virgo moon is just feeling overwhelmed by how many tasks and responsibilities you have on your plate. Maybe you're just like, I just don't want to deal with any of it, right? Our headspace can be in a really like kind of dreamy place. You might have had really interesting dreams the night prior. You might just be in a space where you're just feeling a little bit more inspired or a little bit more lazy or anything of that nature. You might feel more emotional, honestly, more sensitive. My love, as that full moon gets bigger and bigger and bigger, so will your emotions, okay? So allowing yourself the space to deal with what is coming to the surface, and you know, that's just not the most productive as it relates to work and tasks. And then the moon enters Libra at 2:51 p.m., which essentially ends the void. So you're good to do your important tasks again. And this is the sign of the full moon. So like I said, with the full moon, our desire for peace and for harmony and for balance is getting bigger and bigger, because that is what Libra is all about. After the moon enters Libra, it will trine Pluto. So I would say this week is a really important time to connect with people, to bounce your energy off of other people. We truly do want balance within our life. Like that is really the divine expression of the sun in Aries, moon in Libra, is this desire to be our own person and to be around individuals, as Libra is a sign of partnerships, to be around individuals who celebrate that, who amplify that, right? When it comes to connections, and I took a deeper dive into this with my Libra full moon all signs forecast, but the deeper aspect of relationships is this concept of sacred mirrors. We learn about ourselves through bouncing our energy off of other people. When you listen to somebody talk about something that they're passionate about, you get that space to reflect on, do I feel passionate about that? Do I agree with that opinion? No, I actually don't. We clarify our own opinions, our own perspectives by bouncing our energy off of others. But the ask this week is how it is that we could bounce our energy off of others and not take it too personally if there's just not resonance there, because there's not meant to be resonance with every single person. And sometimes if someone kind of just triggers something within us, that kind of triggers that lens around, I need to be accepted and validated by every single person, we craft and hone and adjust our perspectives, opinions, style, what have you, to try to be resonant with that person's energy, and that person really has not too much to do with your journey. It's not to say people are not important. With this Libra full moon, I do want you to spend time with people. I want you to socialize this week. I want you to connect with people, but I really want you to tune into which people and connections make me feel more safe to be myself, which connections do I feel like my essence is celebrated, which connections do I feel like I can talk loud, I can wear bold colors, I can allow my ideas to be heard, and which connections do I feel like I have to perform for? Which people don't like me and it feels like it triggers something very deep in me that I really want to make them like me, right? On Tuesday, it could be particularly potent because the Libra moon does trine Pluto. So it is this energy around feeling more powerful when we are around people, feeling more energized when we are around people, when we are learning, when we are balancing you talking and me talking, your needs and my needs. And with the Libra moon trining Pluto, feeling a little bit more grounded in regards to it. Like, I don't know about you guys, but like when I have those middle of the night spirals where I'm like, oh my gosh, it's all gone for me. And then the morning light when I'm able to like talk to my boyfriend about like the dreams I had, or like talk about, oh my gosh, I was so freaked out at this. It feels so small in comparison. Sometimes other people can be something very anchoring to kind of pull us out of those obsessions or pull us out of our own spirals. Just be able to talk to somebody and be like, yeah, panic about this and this, and now it feels so different. It's really not that big of a deal, right? Now that I'm talking with you and now that it's morning time, like things just feel so different. There can be something about connections that feel grounding in that essence on Tuesday, as well as just a powerful time to connect deeply with your partner with the Libra moon trining Pluto. A really lovely time for intimacy, for, you know, allowing true intimacy, which is really like allowing your own essence to really be heard. It's not putting on an act or trying to be your person's perfect person. It's really allowing yourself to be seen, because that's true partnership, right? And with the Libra moon trining Pluto, we're really craving that depth from our connections. We're really craving those people that we can be around, where we feel safe to be our own person, where we're energized by the idea of exploring them, exploring how their energy reflects certain components of yourself to you, right? So lovely day day to celebrate that. I do want to let you know that, it doesn't happen on Tuesday, it happens on Wednesday, but the Libra moon is building to square off with Mars, so just being mindful around being reactive. And truly with moon square Mars, while we can be reactive, these are two, harmony seeking, like Mars is not dignified in Cancer, so we're not necessarily feeling that safe to advocate for ourselves if something does go wrong, if we're observing there's a lack of balance, like maybe you're in a particular friendship where they're talking constantly about themselves, you don't really get the space to talk, or maybe you're at somewhere at work where someone's just constantly bulldozing over you. Like both the Libra moon deeply values harmony, and Mars in Cancer isn't as inclined to want to take action. It can be a little bit of a passive aggressive energy. So just being conscious if there are angry or frustrated feelings bubbling within you, where it is that you feel like you have to swallow onto it, prioritize the peace, prioritize the peace, prioritize the peace. So to me, this energy feels like there might be something that frustrates you, but you're just like, oh, I'll just keep peace, which again, not every battle is worth fighting, especially as we're nearing eclipse season and nearing a full moon, but some are, right? For some, true integrity within our connection is saying, hey, it kind of bothered me when you did this, right? It's like both of these signs are a little bit more inclined to want to keep the peace, right? So observe, is this something important to me? Do I need to voice this? What have you? Because there can be something that sort of triggers at you that evening. And so on Wednesday the 5th is morning light energy, truly, because Mercury in Taurus sextile Saturn in Pisces, which it's not to say everything's perfect, right? Mercury's separating from its square to Pluto. Like I said, there are things that we could panic and obsess about. Doesn't do us any good. Like with Mercury sextile Saturn, it's like, okay, let me handle with what is practical, with what is going to get me to where it is that I want to go. I want to let you know there might be a kind of frantic or hectic vibe in the air as it is a full moon. Talk to anybody who works with the public. People behave a little wacky on full moons, okay? Things are busier, things are more intense. So again, this energy may not be accessible to you, particularly if this is a pivotal lunation for you. But what I do want to say, Mercury enters its pre-retrograde shadow on Friday the 7th. That means after Friday the 7th, Mercury will be in territory that it'll eventually traverse back through. So it is not super aligned for putting things out there, starting new things, making new purchases. So I do want to let you know if there is something that you need to do before April ends, something that you need to start, I would encourage doing it on Wednesday, so long as, the Libra full moon isn't making you too hectic and panicked, simply because Mercury sextile Saturn, so we're able to kind of approach things with a little bit more focus, a little bit more clarity. After Friday, it's not to say Mercury pre-retrograde shadow isn't good for some things. I'll definitely chat with you about it. It can be great for a lot of things. So it's not to say the entire world goes sideways, but if there is something brand new where you want brand new energy around it, this is the time that I would essentially bucket some energy towards it. If you have to do your taxes, I would strive to have them done by Friday, because when we have essentially Mercury in pre-retrograde shadow, those degrees will be reviewed, right? And that's just not necessarily what we want as it relates to taxes or anything that you want to essentially handle or get done. Now, outside of this, we have the Chiron cazimi. So the word cazimi means in the heart of the sun. And essentially it's when a planet shifts from being combust to essentially being fused with the sun. Essentially, sun and Chiron are at the same portion of the sky. They're united, they're merged. And the thing about Chiron is Chiron can wound, Chiron can heal. It can trigger some pieces. Again, it has nothing to do with Stephanie. That person that you're beefing with at work, it has nothing to do with them. That person in social gatherings who just doesn't like you, it has nothing to do with them. But I also want you to know, it has nothing to do with you either. I shared this more deeply in the Libra full moon all signs forecast, which you can check out within the description. But I do want to let you know that we don't see people as they are. We see people as we are. And you just need to understand, people are not thinking about you. We think about ourselves way more than anybody else does, okay? And when we try to control the narrative around, I want to be liked by this person, I want to be perfect about this person, we're just giving this person all of this power, right? And truly, you're more magnetic the more you just pour into yourself. And when someone doesn't like you, there's a lot of people who will just randomly not like you, and it really doesn't say anything about you. And the more you try to be validated and accepted by every single person, the more you are going to stress and drain yourself. People are just not going to like you. They don't see you clearly. We see things through the lens of our own lived experiences, our own projections. Maybe you remind Stephanie of like an old friend of hers who betrayed her, and like every time she looks at you, she just thinks of her old friend Macy, and there's just something that just repels her, right? We don't know. Maybe that's just how Stephanie is. We don't know Stephanie's deal, and if Stephanie isn't making an effort to get to know us, whatever, her loss, right? And it's not approaching this from this egotistical way around being like, well, I'm perfect, so it must be something wrong with them. That's not the lens here. Obviously, we're all growing, right? We're all growing, and there's always something that we can learn from other individuals. But just understanding, like obsessing over controlling the narrative isn't doing you any good. And you can lose your own essence in the search of trying to be the perfect thing for every single person. You will not please everybody. You will not please everybody. Okay, someone will always have something to say. Is there constructive criticism? Is there ways that we can grow? Absolutely. But even that, you may not be the person for everybody. You may not be the friend for everybody. You may not be the person on the work team for everybody, and that is okay. Just focus on being the best you that you can be. And I highlight this because with the Chiron Cazimi, it's coming from a deep place. Like maybe there was an energy around your safety felt tied up into feeling liked and feeling validated, right? Being the one who, performed in the home, like was the funny one, was the peacekeeper. So there was this energy around, okay, for me to get my needs met, I need to be liked by other people. Like I'm telling you, sometimes it comes from deep places like that, right? Like these people-pleasing tendencies. And there's a spotlight on it. Like there is this energy of surrender around a role that we have performed. Not a surrender around, oh, I give up, but like, I give up. Whatever, Stephanie. I've done nothing to you. If you want to be my friend, I'm over here, but I'm not going to wear neutrals to fit your Instagram aesthetic, girl. Like, it is just not for me. You cannot take things in life personally. You cannot take things in life personally. And if there's someone that you feel like you are competing with, or you want to like you, or these people-pleasing tendencies, take a moment to really dig deep and be like, what is the raw part of myself that this is digging at? Because sometimes it goes to those sort of places around where it is that you feel like your value is around other people liking you. Or maybe it's even just fundamental parts of yourself that you feel like are wrong, right? And feeling like you have to perform or be perfect for other people to like you and to accept you. It starts from within. I know that's easier said than done, but there's a gigantic spotlight on this week. And this surrender around, okay, I'm not going to be the person for Stephanie. I'm not going to be the person online for every single person. I'm not going to be, the yoga instructor for everybody. And that is okay. I'm just really going to hone into the person that I am and the person that I am meant to reach and to serve and to be friends with and all of the pieces. And again, this is a constant practice. So I'm not approaching this from this lens around, you just need to stop caring, because it's not always that easy, but sometimes just illuminating what within you is trying to make other people validate that, right, can be very powerful. To really just take them off the pedestal, to not give them that power over your state, because when it comes from this very raw place, there's this energy around, for my safety, for my acceptance, I need you to accept me. When I taught yoga, there was somebody who just did not like me, and I just so wanted her to like me. I so wanted her to like me. Like with that Mercury square Pluto energy around just getting obsessed around, I just need you to like me. I just need you to like me. I need you to like my classes. And it was always something. Like I would ask her after, like, what do you think of the class? And it was like, oh, well, that music that you played was kind of weird, or like that sequencing was a little off. And like, she just had a very cool vibe about her that just made me want to be accepted by her. So it was like the next time she would come to my class, I would like do the music that she liked, or I would like sequence in the ways that she said was better. But there was always something. And it was fascinating when I realized, oh, there's always something. And there was finally a moment that I was teaching to music that I did not listen to nor liked, sequencing in a way that I did not enjoy for this one person, and neglecting the rest of, my students who liked what it was that I was doing prior, because it was authentic, because it was me. And I was like sitting in front of the class, like she said that I took too long with my personal share, which I know on Magic Monday is an issue as well. This Gemini midheaven just wants to chit chat, but she said I took too long, so I stopped talking as much. And then I had a student who was like, hey, I missed your share. It's like, you will not be for everybody. And when you try to cater your entire existence, like I was like, this is not my class. This is somebody else's class. I'm like literally acting as though this is a private, to try to please this one person whose validation I'm so hungry for. And like, for what? For what? There was always something. And as soon as I realized there was always something, I was like, okay, I'm just going to do my own thing. And as soon as I shifted that and was like, I'm just gonna do my own thing, like firstly, I enjoyed the process way more. My classes were much more attended because it was me, because it was authentic. And some people are gonna say that I'm too chatty. Some people aren't gonna like my music. They're right. Everybody's entitled to their own opinion, but I'm taking them off the pedestal. Sometimes when you are essentially in that role, whether being an instructor, being a business owner, being a parent, what have you, you just have to lead. And you can't lead from the space around, let me be perfect for everybody else. You just have to be like, okay, I can take in feedback, illuminate what feels right to me. Like, absolutely, with constructive criticism, there were certain students who were like, hey, that was a little loud, or like, hey, da 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 da. And I would honor that, right? Because we're always growing within this life. But there's a difference between that versus changing everything about you to try to be perfect for everybody else. And it's so fascinating because I don't know why she would always be there. I don't know why she was always there, because there was always something. Mysteries of life, all that to say, maybe you're not feeling this at yoga, maybe you're not feeling this within a social group, but understand there will always be something that someone will say, and there will always be a raw part of you that can be triggered by other people. Right? Like sometimes it comes from this deep place around, like me, why don't you like me, why don't you like me? And it's like the second that you stop caring is when you're more magnetic. So all I want to say, illuminate, let the light in on Wednesday, literally sun on Chiron. Like there can be certain wounds like activated within around, oh, that's why I constantly want validation. That's why I constantly want acceptance. That's where it comes from, right? And rather than staying within that wound, just choosing to allow the light to come into that and just understanding I'm taking my power back. Because that is the energy of the Aries sun, is around being able to be in our power, still learning and growing from other people, bouncing our energy off other people, but taking that moment to be like, does this make sense for me? You are the leader of your life. You are the instructor of your class. You are the business owner. You are the main character within your world. You need to understand how it is that you want to lead or how it is that you want to create it. You cannot build it for every single person. You cannot live your life to be validated by every single person. So as this full moon builds, I want you to attune to where you are feeling these parts within yourself being triggered. This desire to want to please, this desire to want to feel validated by other people. Call your power back. There's also an illumination around the balance or the lack thereof within our connections. Like I said, observing where things feel symbiotic, where it's like, okay, I'm nourishing you, you're nourishing me. I'm giving you advice, you're giving me advice. There's like this back and forth. Observe that and celebrate those connections. But observe where there's connections within your world where you stop hanging out with them and you feel exhausted because you had to put on a show, right? You had to put on the Haley show or the whatever show. I know you know what I'm talking about if you've had a tendency to people please, where you just feel drained after. You're just like, oh my gosh, or because you were trying to mirror what that person wanted you to be. Observe that. But also observe where it is that you're learning and growing, because it's not that we're meant to be around people who always cheerlead us and are like, yay, you're perfect, you're perfect. Relationships are about growth, but it's about growth from the symbiotic place where it's like really nourishing and bouncing off one another rather than you trying to be like me, validate me. There's a balance here. I want to let you know, some of you are going to have a spotlight on relationships, okay? What it is that you want within a relationship, healing from a past relationship with the opposition to Chiron. Some of you may be reminded of something from your past that, again, cuts you deep. Like the thing about Chiron is that it's less about the external event. Stephanie was just a random girl at the party wearing neutrals. She was a random girl. But the reason it was so triggering is because it just activated something deeper within you. Chiron goes deep. It's essentially external events that trigger something deep within your journey. That's like ouch. This reminds me of when I wasn't liked here. This reminds me of when I was made fun of here. This reminds me of when I was broken up with here. Whatever. It just triggers something deeper within us. So let the light in. Just because a wound gets activated doesn't mean that you need to continue on in your journey with you. Like sometimes allowing that light in, observing this pattern around where you need people to like you, need people to validate you, right? Sometimes just letting the light in to observe where that comes from and just understanding it's not a seamless process. It's not a light switch, but allowing yourself to call your power back, right? To call your power back into infusing your energy into relationships that genuinely vibe with you or genuinely have that give and take, that alchemy, that symbiotic flow, right? With the Libra full moon, we want balance, the balance between the you and the me. That's what Libra is all about. So ensuring that you feel celebrated, that you feel safe to be your own authentic self, that you feel celebrated, that you feel that you have the room to grow and to change and to try new things and to be your own authentic person, because you cannot live your life for other people. You are the captain of your ship, you are the master of your fate, you're the instructor of your class, you are the owner of your business, whatever it is that you want to call it. You are the center of your universe. And other people are going to be such a powerful lesson of life school around refining your craft, around attuning your message, around activating certain parts of your personality, around supporting different parts of your journey. But at the end of the day, it's about you bouncing off energy from other people and saying, okay, what does this mean to me about me? How am I learning from this? How am I growing for this? And not so much needing other people to like or validate your journey as you co-create your life. So the full moon lands at 9:34 on Wednesday. So just think, on Wednesday, the full moon is building and building and building. Again, people, your phone can be blowing up. You can be hearing from a lot of people. There's a huge spotlight on partnerships. So I definitely would say balance alone time, right? That's the Aries sun with time with people. That's the Libra moon. And exacts that evening, so it'd be lovely to do something nice. But I will say, try to be around people that you do feel somewhat safe around, because with the opposition to Chiron, there can be parts of us that feel a little bit more raw. On Wednesday are parts of our journey that are sort of being illuminated. So on Thursday, April 6, 2023, I want to apologize if the camera angle changed. I changed out the battery and I watched the footage back, and that was so strange. Let me know if you observed as well. The beginning of the video was fine, and then I got like more and more blotchy as the video continued. And I don't know if it's because I'm talking. I don't know if I'm allergic to something within the coffee. I don't know if it's just my Virgo moon and rising. I'm just like allergic to life. I don't know what the deal is, but if anyone was concerned about me, I'm totally fine if you notice that as well. But alas, let's talk about Thursday, April 6th astrology. So I officially designate Thursday a Libra full moon recovery day, okay? Because the moon is void from 5:43 in the morning, a.m. in the morning, to 11:29 p.m. at night. That is a long void moon, okay? See what I mean about grabbing Monday by the horns and really proactively working with it? Because, there's a lot of spots within this week that aren't too terribly productive. Now, Thursday is a good day to feel good, to pour into yourself. If there are certain spiky or raw emotions that the Libra full moon cast a spotlight on, allow the light in. Those cracks are what let the light in. And that is the premise with Lana's new album. It just came out, but there's this beautiful premise interwoven into it about, letting the light in. That song's in my head, which is probably why I'm saying it so often. But that, our heart is essentially there to break, and that those cracks are what let the light in. And there's this concept interwoven into the album of kintsugi. I hope I'm saying that right, which is essentially the art of pouring liquid gold in an attempt to make pottery pieces that are broken more beautiful, and that the human heart is the same, that these experiences, while they're painful, while they can shatter our heart, it's what lets light in. It's what gets us closer to our own authenticity, to our own journey, to our own purpose. So on Thursday, with the closing aspect being the Libra moon opposing Jupiter in Aries, there's this energy around being able to reframe these raw parts of ourselves, to see the power within them, to call the power back, to understand how these particular stories have made us the person that we are, how those particular heartbreaks, those wounded parts of us, or those feelings where we feel wrong for being the way that we are, we feel wrong for not having the acceptance that we crave from those around us, how it makes us the person that we are, how it makes our heart even more beautiful, how it lets the light into our particular journey. So just need to pepper that in, because literally that song is so stuck in my head. And so on Thursday, it's a really good day to feel good, to pour into yourself, to show self-love truly, to feel optimistic as well. Maybe like brainstorming with other people, maybe like chatting with your coworkers, right? Or something of that nature. I will say it may be a little difficult to stay on track. And honestly, if the Libra full moon was emotional, oftentimes we feel exhausted during full moons or super, super restless, can't sleep. So allowing yourself to support yourself wherever you are within that spectrum. And then the moon enters Scorpio that evening at 11:29 p.m., where it promptly squares off with Pluto. So our emotional space can feel really intense. So just drawing yourself back into balance, because that's what the Libra moon is attempting, the Libra full moon this week is attempting to do, is to gently spotlight where things are imbalanced, where we are giving people too much of our power without holding our space. Maybe the balance for you isn't even showing up within partnerships. Maybe it's showing up with work gets all your attention, your personal life feels, lacking. Maybe you've been so busy within, working mode. You're not playing and creative and creating and enjoying life. Libra full moon, Mercury is in Taurus, Venus is in Taurus. We have some Venus energy within the cosmos, right? And Venus is about enjoyment. It's about pleasure. It's about beauty. Slow and steady is the pace, okay? Slow and steady is the pace. You are right on time. There is no rush in getting to what is meant for you. And when it comes to this energy, you are safe to take a look around. You are safe to enjoy this particular iteration. The Aries Sun will tell you you've got to be doing more. You've got to be, bulldozing into the future. Remember to enjoy the now. There will be aspects of where you are currently that you will miss. Be here while you are here before you, just attune to where it is that you want to go. And as well as talking to that Mars in Cancer, also don't live too much in the past. Like, be here. That's why I keep highlighting to anchor into our senses, because our senses are essentially a method to attune to the present, right? When something feels good, when something tastes good, when something looks beautiful, you are there, right? So this week is to be enjoyed. Enjoy the presence of others. Really be there with others when you are there. Enjoy beautiful scenery. Enjoy little luxuries, little delights. Slow and steady. You are not running late. You are exactly where it is that you're meant to be. Enjoy this particular iteration before bulldozing into the next or missing the last. And just watch that Scorpio moon obsessiveness. Go to sleep, okay? Go to sleep on Thursday. Again, another night of, middle of the night, things look much differently. Things look different in the morning light, okay? There's nothing that your mind can figure out at this particular iteration. Just go to sleep. Things will look different in the morning. On Friday, the Scorpio moon trines off with Saturn in Pisces, which is the vibe around things look different in the morning. You're more clear-headed, right? Scorpio moon is still feeling things really intensely, but with the trine to Saturn, it's like, okay, what is it that we need to do? Let's attune to our to-do list. That can be something very grounding, as well as there's some lovely energy on Friday to work with that I want you to seize. Before I do though, I want to let you know Friday is the official day that Mercury enters territory from which it'll eventually traverse back through. So being conscious Friday onward as it relates to launching out new things, as it relates to signing contracts, it's not a no, okay? It's not a red light, it's a yellow light. That's what shadow periods are. It's like, let's proceed cautiously, okay? Let's continue at the slow and steady pace. Let's read the contract. Someone's like bulldozing you to sign it. Let's make sure this is the right opportunity, right? Let's ground down into logic before getting ahead of ourselves, right? Slow and steady, okay? That is the pace that we are anchoring in at this time, enjoying the now while steadily and consistently building our future. We are in no rush. We are in no rush. We are in no rush. And so as it relates to this, a fundamental part of the Mercury retrograde story is that Mercury sextiles Mars, which is fascinating because Mercury in Taurus, Mars in Cancer, these are two energies that do tend to be a little bit more patient, but it's sort of like they're hyping each other up. So here our words have a little bit more passion, a little bit more drive about what it is that we want. And really the overall story with Mercury retrograde is this energy around reviewing our Taurus arenas of our life. So look which house in your chart you have Taurus within. That'll be a sector that you'll be reviewing. But to a larger level collectively, we'll be reviewing our values, right? With Mercury and Taurus. So again, Stephanie does not say anything about your value. Where are you sourcing your value? What is it that you value within your life? It's a really aligned time to, reorganize money stuff. Again, I wouldn't start anything brand new, but it can be a good time to really look at your finances, see, is it really mirroring what it is that I value? And with the sextile to Mars, we really are inspired to want to do something about it. And some other ways that we can use Mercury sextile Mars is empowering our voice, putting ourselves in the pathway around speaking what it is that we want, maybe having an important conversation with somebody else, what have you, to use our words to get what we want and to know that you are worthy. Even if they say no, even if this opportunity doesn't work out, you are worthy. You cannot give anybody, your power without your own permission. Like understanding, like with Mercury sextile Mars, this energy around putting out there, hey, would you want to collaborate? Or putting out there your application and not needing to have your validation wrapped up into them saying yes. You will hear no a lot of times in this lifetime. Again, Aries Sun is supportive around us being invigorated by a challenge. the Aries sun answering to Mars in Cancer, there's parts of this week where there will be a temptation to take it personally. It has nothing to do with you. Just strive when you feel that nudge with Mars in Cancer around, I should reach out to that person. I like that person's style. Follow your instincts, but also understand, even if they say no, it says nothing about you. Everybody has their own journey. They have their own stuff. Stephanie is going through her own stuff. Who knows? You can put out there, hey, Stephanie, how's the veggie tray? And if she's like, oh, the carrots are wilted, just be like, okay. Like, you do not need her to enthusiastically respond to your request. It doesn't say anything about you. All you can do is control what it is that you can control. When you feel that nudge, use your words or put yourself in the pathway for things to happen, but understand it doesn't say anything about you. These things are external. There's a strong desire this week that we could take it personally. What's wrong with me that Stephanie always responds to my questions with a roll of eye? Maybe Stephanie is just miserable. Who doesn't like a veggie tray? And that's important. Again, the Mercury sextile Mars won't happen until later that night, and it will happen again this month because of Mercury's retrograde. That won't happen until later in the night, but I do want to highlight the moon aspects are kind of referencing that as well, because the moon opposes Mercury in Taurus. So again, there could be disagreements, not saying eye to eye. Again, it doesn't say anything about you if you don't see eye to eye, if there's different preferences, if there's different opinions. In fact, that's why life school is so fascinating. So we can learn about other people's opinions. With the Scorpio moon opposite Mercury in Taurus, we might be taking it personally, as well as being very rigidly attached to our own opinion without learning from the other person. We also could be reacting very emotionally to logic, descending into fear spirals if someone's like, I think the font could be different, or this, being like, they hate me, they don't like me, I'm gonna get fired. Like, again, just striving for objectivity. There's really not that much air within the cosmos at this particular moment in time. And when there's no air, it's very hard to see above ourselves. We're reacting to things very, emotionally or intensely, and it's hard to sort of get that perspective, take that step back and see, okay, objectively, what is going on here? The only air that we have in the cosmos is Pluto, and Pluto isn't going to be objective about just about anything. So it could be hard, but take that step back. Understand, this has nothing to do with me. Just follow your instincts with the Scorpio moon trining Mars in Cancer, and they're in mutual reception at this moment. So the Scorpio moon is answering to Mars in Cancer, Mars in Cancer is answering the Scorpio moon. So they're in cahoots. So when it comes to this energy, there can be a strong shrewd and strategy when you follow your instincts, when you reach out to the person who pops into your mind, when you follow your energy to get your to-dos done. There is power in following your fluctuations, your emotional and energetic fluctuations. And the other magical energy that occurs on Friday is that we have Venus sextile Neptune. Now, the thing about sextiles is that it's a little sprinkle of fairy dust. It's not a given, but it's an opportunity. And with Venus sextile Neptune and Venus in Taurus, Neptune in Pisces, Taurus and Pisces just elevate romance to a near art form. And this is a vibe where we're wanting to see the romance, the beauty in everything. We're wanting to elevate. We're like, why would I just have a meal when I can have a meal and put a garnish and make a little fun little mocktail with it, or what have you? Look for opportunities to elevate, right? Why just have a meal when you can have a meal? Why just go for a walk when you can go for a walk? Find those little moments to add that little flourish or that little otherworldly or cinematic touch, as well as when it comes to your love life, sometimes you have to strive to kind of enhance the magic or to bring those romantic moments in, and this is a lovely time to do so. As well as art, with the Venus and Taurus, we're fairly rooted, and with the whisper from sextile to Pisces, again, it's this little bit of fairy dust around adding this little otherworldly touch, trusting your instincts on Friday. I feel that strongly for some creatives. It's about trusting your instincts in regards to what it is that you're building. And with Venus sextile Neptune, if you're feeling stuck, connect to your source energy, connect to something bigger than you. You can find you're getting inspired and you're grounding it down very tangibly with Venus and Taurus. Saturday the 8th isn't going to go as planned, but it's going to be magical. It's not going to go as planned, but it's going to be magical in the spontaneity, okay? The Scorpio moon opposes Uranus and Taurus, so something's going to be unexpected, right? Whether emotionally you're just feeling more volatile. Again, Scorpio moon's feeling all of the things. With the opposition to Uranus, you could just be feeling restless, right? Feeling restless. There can be things that happen that make you feel out of control, and again, wanting to grip to the initial plan, but I looked up the menu for this restaurant. What do you mean the entire group wants to go to a different restaurant? I wasn't prepared for that. Little shifts that kind of make you spiral, this was not the plan. But I highlight that it's magic because the Scorpio moon trines Neptune and Pisces. So if we can release control, not easy with the Scorpio moon, but if we can release the control, we open ourselves up to If not this, something better. Just staying open if there are pivots, if there is something unexpected, if the plan doesn't permeate exactly as you thought. If not this, something better. Being open to magic, being open to the divine. Like, seriously, that provides me so much solace as I navigate through my world around if something doesn't work out, be like, the universe must have something better in store. Does it always? Not always, but it helps me to think that, right? And it helps me look for magic around, well, why did the universe not want this to work out? Let me look for magic, or look for why this could have not worked out, right? Looking for those little pieces will help soothe the Scorpio moon. And that evening would be lovely to do something nice for yourself, just because the Scorpio moon opposes Venus and Taurus, and we know Venus and Taurus elevates self-care to an art form. Just be mindful with excess, with the opposition energy, right? Not feeling so good, so wanting to, online shop. Not feeling so good, so wanting a lot of sweets or something of that nature. Again, do something sweet for yourself, but just being mindful around trying to outsource what it is that you're feeling by things that feel good, okay? Whether it's going on a date to distract yourself, baking a pie to distract yourself. There's nothing wrong with going on a date or baking a pie. It's like, are you trying to avoid deeper emotions that are coming to the surface? Because again, the full moon's light is being shed, right? We are officially building to eclipse season. So there's going to be pivotal, essentially, pieces coming to the surface. Because I also want to highlight, eyes wide open, now that we're in the eclipse, preparation stages, as well as Mercury's in its shadow. Themes that are coming up this weekend, themes that are coming up within your life, themes that are coming up within your soul, within your emotions, are going to be reviewed. This can be a pivotal part of your Mercury retrograde story, so paying attention. And just to be clear, the moon does not oppose Venus until early Sunday morning at 2:09 a.m. On Sunday the 9th, the moon enters Sagittarius at 5:57 a.m. and the Sag moon wants to vibe. The Sag moon wants to adventure. The Sag moon wants to connect to the bigger picture vision of it all. And Saturn Pisces is like, you thought. The Saturn is really dampening Sagittarius vibe quite a bit. Now, you are powerful. Okay, I really want to anchor that in on Sunday. If there are things that are annoying, right? It feels very Sunday scary vibe. It feels very, I want to go for adventure, but I can't. My car is out of gas, or like stuff like that, where it's just like, I want to vibe. Why does this world make it so hard to just vibe? That's the energy. But with the Sagittarius moon sextiling Pluto in Aquarius, you are powerful. You can overcome this. And that might just be a nice energy to anchor in on Sunday around, I am powerful, right? I'm powerful enough to handle all the laundry. I'm powerful enough to handle all the responsibilities. I'm powerful enough to deal with the Mercury retrograde shadow snafus that are coming to the surface. Just important to anchor in. So my loves, that is our week. Our Magic Monday mantra of the week is, I call my power back. The exalted sun wants you to remember your power. Not because of what you do, not because of who likes you, but because of who it is that you are. When you allow these people into your head, essentially, like getting ready for that gathering, and you're like, will Stephanie like this rainbow jacket that I so want to wear? I don't know. Like, it's allowing all of these people to live in your head rent-free. Like, literally, mind your business. The sun is in Aries, Mercury's in Taurus, Venus is in Taurus, Mars in Cancer is a little bit reactive or is a little bit sensitive, which is why it's even more important to protect your peace and mind your business and understand that you are a powerful individual. Okay, you do not need these people to like you. You do not need these people to validate you. You need to like you, right? You need to like that rainbow jacket. You don't need Stephanie to like it at the party. You don't need to be on Stephanie's neutral Instagram feed, right? You just need to have a good time at the party. And there is a spotlight on connection. So I'm not saying, just forget everybody in your life. There's nothing that you can learn from them. You just need to do your own thing. I'm saying it's a balancing act between the person that you are and how it is that you learn from bouncing your energy off other people and understanding you will not be for everybody. You will not be for everybody. And that is okay. That is okay. So I want you to take a moment to call your power back for observing where it is that you are linking your energy towards trying to allow yourself to be validated by those around you, and just gently calling it back, being like, okay, this is not serving me. I call my energy back. Who's living in your head rent-free? Who, when you get ready, you're like, well, will Stephanie think this rainbow coat is too bright when I wear it to the party? Or like, will Anthony on my work team think that this idea is too bold for our demographic? Or will this person I'm going on a date with think I'm too annoying if I laugh my true laugh rather than this fake laugh. Like, that's a lot of noise up here, okay? And you just need to protect your peace. You need to do your own thing, interact with people from the integral space around. This is who I am. This is who you are. Let's bounce off energy off one another. Let's learn from one another, right? And if somebody doesn't want to learn from you, if they don't want to interact with you, let it go, okay? Let it go. Everybody's going to get a little wacky. I mean, literally with full moons, people are a little wacky. People have their own stories. This eclipse season, people are going through their own things, right? We don't know what's happening within Stephanie's world. So when we take it personally, we give up certain parts of our power. Like, understand, I do not take it personally. I call my power back. So my loves, that is our week. I'm going to go deal with this blotchiness because, girl, what is going on? But until we meet again, drink lots of water and stay magical.